Blog Talk Radio.
It's a new thing that's sweeping the land when you don't know which way to go. The answer is Jesus and Elevation Radio.
God bless you. This is Elevation Radio 1, and I'm your host, Pastor Steve, the Music Man Turner, and we thank you for taking the journey with us. This is the program that spotlights positive people doing positive work while serving a positive God whose name is Jesus. Ain't nobody else better, baby. That's just what it is. All right. We got that out the way. My program is dedicated to the memory of my lovely wife, First Lady Queen Leora Turner, who went on to glory last year in August, and we still miss her. All right. Our subject matter today had to be changed because I was told by Zuleika Bazemore, Dr. Bazemore, that it was a little too controversial. The music man went too far, so we have to have her on another time. And so although you may see her photograph, it won't be her talking on this program. The program is now, subject matter is been relabeled Rejected. Good God Almighty, rejected. Our church musicians being traumatized. Our church musicians being traumatized. And, I have to go to Psalms 91 because the scripture I had is not really worth this one. But he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And in Romans chapter 8, verse 18, for I reckon that the sufferings, kind of country, that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed in us. And in Black History Month, it's fitting to have a black minister of music, a young maestro, a young apostle. That's what I call him, a young apostle. And a young apostle's name is, what's your name, sir? What's your name, sir?
Name is Alphonso Elliott, Jr.
Now, write that down, Radio Atlanta. Alphonso Elliott, Jr. And how do you qualify to be on this program, sir? Are you a minister of music?
I am a new musical director over a church called Albert House, located in Young Apostle Patterson.
Uh-huh. And you play for another church, don't you?
Yeah. Also, I'm a lead musician at another ministry in a Fulton Baptist church, where it's Pastor Dr. Urquhart, the pastor.
Okay. And is there a difference in the type of, being a lead musician? You're doing one thing, and then you got to go put you on your minister of music hat at the other church down in Dundalk. What's the difference between the two?
Well, I would say the difference between the two, let's start with the lead musician, which is usually either a keyboardist or an organist, and really don't have too many duties. You show up for rehearsal when needed, and, you rehearse with the band and the praise team. Sometimes they may have to pick songs, but normally that's not really the case. That's usually the choir director or the musical director position. But that's really it as far as the, lead pianist or a lead musician and that nature, versus a musical director has a little bit more responsibilities. This depends on what the church is actually putting their roles as a musical director. But some of those things could be just be having weekly meetings, making sure that the praise teams are officially signed, but, during every Sunday, maybe it could be different praise leaders every Sunday in reference to music, picking out the music, rehearsing with the band separately, rehearsing with the praise team separately. Those are just a couple of things that a musical director may have, and even extending to teaching parts for any choirs or praise team members. So those are a few roles for musical director.
It sounds like too much work, sir. Too much work.
Yeah, I guess it depends, and that sometimes often comes with a bigger salary as well. I was recently interviewing at a church in Baltimore, and that just went really far left field. I was in the midst of putting in my 2 weeks at my current church, and they hired somebody within, the 2 week span. So it was just really some miscommunication on both parts. But they wasn't looking for a musical director. They really didn't have a lead musician or musical director at all, and so they was really actually interviewing for both positions. But I do know that the musical director was paying a little more than the lead pianist position.
Was it a little more, sir, or was it a lot more?
I truly do believe it was a lot more. A lot of times musical directors get paid, sometimes up within the 50,000 and up mark when it comes to musical directors. So
wait a second. Hold on a second. I just got excited. You said 50K.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah.
Well, where is it, sir? Where is it? I keep running into these little fried chicken potato salad churches. I don't know. That's all I can afford to get. Salary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to eat something, but more than Popeyes.
It definitely depends on the size and the church sometimes, and how popular the church is. But you do have your, like you say, your Popeyes churches, or maybe you have your little fast food churches. Maybe a McDonald's or Burger King.
We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna get in trouble, sir.
Like that.
We're gonna get in trouble. He had the nerve to call us a Popeye church. Yeah, well, hey, because all I can eat from your salary is beans and hot dogs, I tell you. So, here's what I find out. This is what traumatized me. Sometimes these churches will spend more on the instrument, good God Almighty, than the man or woman it takes to actually make it come to life. Have you ever experienced that?
Mm-hmm. I have. I really sometimes don't understand, why they do those things, but I have seen it happen.
Alrighty, and are you a Baltimorean, sir?
I am a Baltimorean. I grew up East Side. I've always been the East Side type of guy. I grew up Northeast. I was born in Francis Scott Key Hospital, and I spent a little bit of my time within the city lines of Baltimore, or Grove Street side, in that area, and then I moved out into the county. My grandmother took us out in the county, and that was pretty much it from there on. I've been county all my life for the most part.
Okay, and how do you spell your last name, sir?
Elliott.
Okay, this is for young ladies who are listening. He's single, ladies. He's single. If you want to ask him a question, you can call in right now. I'll tell you, I'll try to help you out. 1-914-205-5353. 1-914-205-5353. You haven't known love because we're getting close to Valentine's Day. You haven't known love till you get a chance to be with in the presence of a minister of music, anointed. May be able to compose a song for you. I don't know. 1-914-205-5353, and ask to speak to Young Apostle Alphonso Elliott. Let's see if there's any ladies out there who will pick up my challenge. I tell you. And so, let's see here. And how long have you been playing music, sir?
I have my first keyboard at 6 years old, and I do remember it had like a little record button on that keyboard as well, so I was able to replay my tunes at 6 years old. And I really started developing my gift around, I'd say mid-20s. I started playing with a professional band who's played amongst and with some of the greatest artists out here, Jonathan Nelson, Jason Nelson, and even some secular artists. I mean, some of the horn players that I've played with, has been on the road with, you call them, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z. So it's been a blessing to have been a part of a band that was very professional, and I do thank God for allowing me to have that opportunity to really play with a band and get the whole roll down and what I have to do. I was really just playing auxiliaries sometimes, and if somebody called out or they couldn't make it, I would play organ. So I really do thank God for landing me in a really good ministry, which is Church Redeemer of the Lord. That's my home ministry. That's my home church.
You said CRL.
Bishop Jerome Stokes. Yes, CRL. Yes, that's my home.
Yeah, say his name again. Say his name again.
Bishop Jerome Stokes.
Say it one more time. One more time, sir. One more time, please.
Bishop Jerome Stokes. Senior pastor at Church Redeemer of the Lord.
He's a cool pastor. Every time I see him out in the street, he's always the same. He never acts funny like some pastors do. He doesn't think he's too big and snobbish like some pastors do. Okay, he's always the same, and he even recognizes me, a regular person.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, Steve, how you doing?" I said, "Bishop, how you doing?" Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really genuine person and really down to earth. He really is a good person. To be around and to have grown up under, that amazing leadership. So it was really well.
I tell you.
Good.
So let me ask you a question here. Have you ever been traumatized while being a lead musician or a minister of music? Has the church ever traumatized you, sir?
There was a time when I was going through a big transition in my life, career change / marital issues, and this was within the year of about 2020, at the end of 2020, going into 2021. So, there was and then maybe I just had a lot on my plate, but there was a certain time when I was traveling from Harrisburg on a train because I was in railroad school. Up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I got hired by Norfolk Southern, which was a Fortune 500 company, to be a freight conductor. And so during that time, I was still ministering at my church, and I would still take a train every Sunday or every weekend, 2 trains down to Baltimore, and spend about $150 to $200 every week to be in my position on Sunday, on time.
Hold on a second, sir. I'm now traumatized. Did you just say that you rode 2 trains from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to come down here to a church and get $150, $200?
Well, no, that's how much the ticket costs. That's how much the ticket costs to get to and fro.
You had to pay that too?
Oh,
wow.
yeah. I paid that out of pocket, and I was getting paid, I wasn't getting paid no $200, every week for service, but basically I was pretty much getting double of what I was paying out, for my ticket every Sunday.
Okay.
And so there was a time when there was an issue whereas I didn't call, like they hired somebody and to be in my position, and they figured that I didn't call, and they hired a musician to be, so I'm showing up for church, and there's a musician, in my place. Yeah, so I really don't know the miscommunication, because I never ever done a no call, no show at my church. And so, that was, I don't know how it happened, but basically it was a really bad situation. I didn't get paid that Sunday, and I showed up one time. Yes, I didn't get paid that Sunday because I was in my position. And also, I put in a vacation day because, again, I'm away in railroad school, so I do have vacation time. I do get 1 day a year, which is really not that much, but 1 day a year, and I put that in, and that got rejected. So not only did I not get get paid for being there on time, coming from Harrisburg, taking 2 trains, paying $150 to be there at church on Sunday, I didn't get my vacation time. So that was about almost $1,000 I missed out that Sunday. And so I was literally ripped in shreds and crying outside of church because, I'm really trying to do my best to manage all the stuff that's going on in my life.
And how long had you, because it's all accumulated like a storm, all at one time, and didn't they know you were going through a divorce?
Well, at the time, not really. It was more so I was still with my ex-wife during that time. Or was I? No, I wasn't. I wasn't with my ex-wife during that time. I was actually separated during that time. But they really didn't know that input. But I was going through that state, right? That was the year I got separated from my ex-wife, and I'm heading railroad school. Literally a month later, and this happened. So, I'm in railroad school. I'm possibly about to step down from my musicianship role, and this happens. So because I didn't communicate that I was going to be there in service, which is just again, I never did any no call no shows for church. So how can you make that assumption that I'm not going to be there? And if I didn't,
how long had you played there then?
This was I was 6 years in.
Oh, come on! No. Let me say, as a veteran, I've been playing since age 4, so I'm 55 years. As a veteran of church hurt and traumatization, I can say that the church was just too cheap. They didn't want to keep paying you the money. Maybe somebody complained about something or whatever. It was unnecessary. And the pastor who was weak listened to them, like the pastor I was playing for here recently after playing for 6 months. His wife said, every Sunday, the praise and worship is being taken to the next level. Okay, and she would, before he complained about me, she said, the week before, the music is excellent. And so when I got there, everybody else was singing, but when I started getting there, then nobody wanted to sing, nobody wanted to do anything at all, so I had to do all the music, 4 to 7 songs a Sunday. And there's a drummer there, but he was too busy taking off time playing out in the world, so he complained that he didn't know some of the songs I was playing. You don't know because we're unequally yoked, brother, because you up in the secular world, and I'm in the gospel world. And so, the pastor, and to be quite frank, I just be truthful. His wife was more anointed than he was. He was a motivational speaker, right? He had no power. But my point is that through all the issues that I was going through, the death of my wife, going through dialysis, going to dialysis, waking up and find myself in Sinai Hospital or St. Agnes, don't know how I got there, don't know who I am, and all that. I only missed one Sunday. Missed once, and I actually had to have surgery for my eyes because I needed retina surgery, because I couldn't see. I missed one Sunday, and so he basically had a meeting off the cuff without giving me any kind of heads up, and saying that he don't like the way I play, and I started to say I don't like the way you preach, but we all have on and off days, brother, and whatnot, and so you ain't that hot, young fella, and so my point was that as I said, well, why you got the drummer here? That make no sense. He's my employee, or he's my underneath me. Why has he got words to say negatively about me? It seemed like it was a setup. I said, okay, I see how. So I said, well, I tell you, he then complained, said, if you don't want to be here, then let me know, because the former musician he did all this rehearsal, he did so and so. I started saying, you should have kept the nigga. So my point was, I'm not him, okay? I'm not going to do rehearsal for free. I'm not coming down here for nothing. Okay, and so and I could tell that was he was economics. He was being cheap, and so he said, "I pay you good money. If you don't like it, you can just get out. You can leave or whatever." And I said, "Well, when I'm ready to go, I'll let you know." He said, "Good, because we'll be good with or without you." Trying to edge me into a fight or something like that. So the following week, he actually he paid me, but it wasn't like he was enthusiastic about it. He just here. So then the following week, he called me to say we put the double rack keyboards that he purchased from the ex-minister music. We put them in the shop, and I said, oh, okay, well, why don't you call me and tell me about it? Because it sounded like he's trying not to pay me. If I do something, then I can see you're not doing it. But if you do, that was your decision. It should not affect me, and I'll bring you one of my keyboards and I'll play. But that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to get rid of me. So he found a way to get back and retaliate because I stood up for myself. And I found this after going to an interview with a pastor in Westminster that I had a suit on, a tie, and I presented my stuff as a salesman because that's what I was in the secular world. He says, oh, you're not like most musicians. And I say, well, he said, because most musicians are, and then he stopped. I was like, what are you getting ready to say, Pastor? No, I can't say it. I said, go ahead. What you going to say? No, I can't say it. I said, you in your own church, nobody can tell you what to do. I did reverse psychology. And he went for it. He said, most of us pastors think most musicians are stupid. So I thought for a second. I got my composure. And I said, I guess that's why we're not considered to be equal contemporaries. Because when you're trying to hire me, you tell me I'm the second most powerful person in the church. Second most important person in the church. Working together. Until you do something wrong, or you perceive to do something wrong, or somebody's complaining about you, or whatever, and then they treat you like trash, and then they throw you out like garbage. Yeah, I got to say this, and I'm going to let you run with it, is I have received more humane treatment from my secular corporate jobs when they were ready to get rid of me, give me stipends and pay to extend so I can look for another job. But in God's house, good God Almighty, I get thrown out after I've been used like nothing. As long as my usefulness is over, they'll find somebody else to think they can play better or a cheaper price. They'll bring the person right in there when I'm rehearsing in the choir or playing the service so he can sit there and watch me. You don't know if you're looking at your replacement or not. The church is treacherous. That's why I found out.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Recently when I was interviewing for, it's a well-known church, I won't display the name of the ministry, but recently in my interview process, it was like you said, just the similarity of being stereotyped as a musician, that label of how pastors just look at musicians, and it was just, I felt that in the interview, just mainly like, okay, you heard me play, and then, we're going over the offers, salary and everything, and so after that, it was just like, oh yeah, he was asked me about my marital status, and I told him, I was single, and so, oh yeah, just make sure you, just look out for the women here, blah blah blah, get yourself upright, blah blah blah, and I'm just listening. I'm like, sir, I'm in my head. I'm like, you don't know me, sir. Like, why are you sharing this with me because of my marital status? Or I'm single, so or you just make sure you keep up, and then or make sure you're well groomed and looking decent. And I'm sitting here in a suit and tie, like literally on this interview, and this is the way I dress every Sunday. And so literally those two comments just really stuck out to me. And so even with the miscommunication that we both had in the midst of me starting at the church, I'll call him and he say to me that they hired another musician, and I'm just saying, I told you this is the time that I was starting, and my transition. I'm about to transition from a church I've been at for 9 years, and so when you say, okay, yes, I dropped the ball personally for me. I was supposed to call back in a couple of days, but communication is a two-way street. So if you don't hear from me, call and check in on me. Show me that you're a pastor that cares about me instead of just treat me as an employee or a contractor.
Say it again. Say it again.
I said pastors should care more for the individual instead of treating musicians like an employee or a contractor. My biggest things, or my biggest what I asked for was, one, is just us to communicate as pastor to musician. And I always know that it's important to have a relationship with the pastor, but there's still a really big gap between pastors and musicians, just the way we are sometimes treated. And it's not every pastor or bishop, but it's just still that position as if we don't both share the same stage when service time comes, or we're not sharing the same attack as you are sharing the same attack when you're preaching and we're ministering. We're sharing the same stage, so we can't be treated as if we don't both sharing the same stage. So,
heavy.
It's important, so for whoever who's listening to the podcast, it's important that musicians need the relationship. We need your relationship. We need that, connection, that communication. Whether or not we are employees or you giving us a check at the end of the day, the most important thing is pastors needs to watch over our souls, and I think that's the biggest thing. So I think a lot of times, like I said, money does sometimes get in the way. It plays a big part, and I do believe it sometimes get in the way. Some people use it as a doggy bone as well for musicians. So it's we have a lot of building to do. Church has a lot of building to do, for sure.
These are some very serious, actually, statements of truth and affirmation of truth, and I appreciate it. And you're helping somebody out there. I would surmise that most pastors now consider themselves to be the end all to be all, because that's what I heard when I just asked the pastor recently, why would you put the keyboards at the music store? When we initially was going to get a instrument, we went there together, and so I even saved him money because he was going to take a trip. He could afford to take a trip for a month, take his wife out for a month away from the church. And I said, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you wait instead of getting a Hammond XB5? Why don't you wait till after you come back, Pastor, and then go from there. And so he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm trying to watch out for you. I'm watching out for you, and you ain't watching out for me. Okay. He had a leak in the church, and the water was leaking down over by the amp, and I motioned to the drummer that there's a leak here, and he went and told the deacon. The deacon told the pastor, and saved the church irreparable amount of money. I'm saving you money all the way around, trying to help you. And all the stuff I've been through, I'm more faithful than most of your members. Yo. You should check that out. But you want to talk to me like I'm trash. I ain't got nothing but, love for you, because you're supposed to love God, and I'm trying to help you. And I thought we was in this together, but nah. It's all a matter of, because some people didn't like, I guess, he said some people didn't like the songs that I was playing. Well, I mean, that's another thing, too, is that when I talk to other musicians around, they don't play all contemporary music. And when I've asked for other song suggestions, they hit me back with some of the same songs I was playing myself. So I'm like, well, it's all right for everybody else. Why ain't it all right for me? Well, I'm singing myself hoarse every Sunday, singing 4 to 7 songs. And like I'm entertainment. I'm not entertainment. I'm a minister of music. Hello? And that's another thing I was talking about earlier. We can't, ministers of music most of the time can't do what God wants us to do and have the freedom to do it because the church and the pastor and the deacons and everybody else, they want the recorded music that other artists do, and they have sometimes to do these songs that they have 2 to 4 or 5 years to record this music. You want me to learn it in 2 weeks or 1 week, or just play so that we can hype the people up so they can get excited and give money. That's what it's all about. I'm not an entertainer. Dagnabbit. If you want to be entertained, go down to the club.
Yes, I do agree. You know, when it comes to the music and everything, one of the things that God pulls on me about is He always, and I'm always listening. You can create your own music in church. Why do we have to repeat or other people's songs every single Sunday when God has given us the ability to write our own song, to express the how we feel about the Lord, to sing to the Lord. So we should be writing our own music. We should be writing our own songs. And it's okay to sing other people's songs, but God wants to hear your song, your testimony, your message to the Lord, directly to the Lord. A lot of times, we really should be singing to the Lord. And once we sing to the Lord, everything else falls down. Everything else rains down. The blessings, the healings, the overflow, the miracles, because we're giving God the highest praise.
Yes, sir.
And so, so there's a thin line between gospel, inspirational. We can witness to, we can sing to people and make people feel happy, or the emotional part, and make them feel happy. But there's a time and place for everything. So I do believe that we should be singing to the Lord and praising Him and lifting Him up, so that our blessings and everything else can fall down in the sanctuary. So I truly believe there's going to be a time when, there's a revival, and millions of churches are writing their own songs, and we're not just caught, we hear a song on the radio and now we're singing it in the church, and, so it's just, there will be a time, when we can pick our pens and pencils up and write our own song to the Lord. I do that.
Or, as I have experienced myself, when I had my Christian jazz band, one day we were in rehearsal, and I said, I don't know where I'm going, but follow me. And I wrote a song. It was called Bless His Name. And God wrote it in me and went from my head to my heart to my hands. And so eventually, before the rehearsal was over, we learned it. And it came directly from the email from heaven. And that's why I understand that the old Levites could do is directly from God. Because he says, sing to the Lord a new song. So how can you do it if you're constantly listening? Now, here's the other caveat that I've learned. Not everybody who's doing gospel music is saved. Oh, my goodness. We got 2 different types here when it comes to the national recording artists and all that. I'll go with this one first. Some of them take certain beats from R&B. I know one group in Baltimore that was very, very well known that would go to a barbershop and pay for beats from an R&B writer who wasn't saved and put it in their gospel music. The other is that most artists that I've known on the national stage that have come across, I don't know why nobody talks about it. It traumatized me. I actually met Daryl Coley outside a hotel in D.C. singing for the Singing Moon cult leader, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, Mr. Mr. Coley, I listen to your records, blah, blah, blah. And when he he spoke back to me, I got traumatized. Oh, thank you. I'm like, oh, my God. He's a LGBTQY, something like what? Donald Lawrence.
Wow.
I mean, when I hear him talking, I'm like, you know, and the Lord Jesus. I'm like, oh, my God. Him and Bobby Jones and Jane Cleveland, all, and Shirley Caesar, all. Lord have mercy. So what can you talk about God with when you live in this lifestyle? You're an abomination. So that means that the music is abominable. That means in the church it's abominable. It's like having a preacher and a pastor who's swinging both ways. It's an abomination. That's what we got here in Baltimore. Yeah, that's what we got here in Baltimore. These abominable preachers going down to see the mayors and city halls so they can talk to them and giving the church money to the mayor who spent money on the after-school program. That's why she didn't want to let me in. So I was going to ask you, what did you do with the mayor, with the money you had already, Mayor? Oh, they're serving bail, baby. They're serving bail because I don't know if you knew what the Baltimore means, the circle of bail.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have all these murders. That's why we have all this bloodshed. That's why we got crooked pastors and crooked teachers and, oh, my God, crooked politicians like Brandon Scott. Good God Almighty. They are so confused down there that people in city council don't even know what he's doing. A sneaky little dude. And he is run by, the reason why the city is like it is, because I predicted or prophesied on the show a long time ago that Brandon Scott would be tearing up Baltimore City, that his mission is to tear up the city. And between the school system, between DPW, oh, my God, I mean, the BG&E, the underground thing he just signed away for, he is doing exactly, who is he working for? He ain't working for us. He's working for Martin O'Malley, always after me, Lucky Charms. That's who runs him. So we are traumatized because of the look of the Irish, okay? So I say God is more powerful than all these folks. Good God Almighty. And you won't believe how many church pastors are affiliated and succumb to the power of the politicians because they're trying to get money. And so it's all about. That's why they're serving bail.
Wow. And the rabbit hole definitely runs deep. You know, I realized that even with some of the things that happened with the pandemic, I truly believe that you know, that, like I said, the rabbit hole runs really deep. God gave me a message not six months before the pandemic actually struck the United States of America, and I have it on Facebook, my Facebook profile. He spoke to me and he told me everything that was going to happen. He just didn't tell me that it was going to be in the form of a pandemic, but everything that transpired and the biggest thing that stuck out was the millions of churches being empty, the seats being empty on a Sunday. Wow, that came across, like I said, 6 months before. I still have that post up on my Facebook page. Wow, the Lord has told me that. I am like in awe because, okay, if I say this out, Lord, you're telling me to say this. If I say this out, people are going to think I'm crazy because realistically, you've never seen an empty church on a Sunday. That's not realistically happened. It's never happened until 2020 hit. That was history being made, that there was millions of churches empty on Sunday. And so until stock market crashing, the millions of layoffs, the churches being empty, all this 6 months before it happened. And I was just like, okay, well, what happens now? It's just, now you just have to prepare. This is all preparation. right? So I do believe that God has told not only me, but certain pastors, mega pastors, this information, and they just literally did not warn their congregations at all. As like you said, it's just all tied into this big, this big, whatever it is, this circuit, unknown circuit or private circuit, and they're just all in it together. So, and it's really sad because, a lot of people have lost lives, they've broken families, has happened, and just some more things. And I do believe that it didn't have to be of that magnitude that those things that happen. So I do truly believe that when Judgment Day comes, there will be a lot of pastors, apostles, at the throne. I don't think it's going to be a good turnout. So
I got to stop you right there, sir. I'm ringing the bell because you have just caused pandemonium, sir. The blood is on their hands. First of all, you got Dr. Fauci went over there to Wingchang, China, and created this. This is what do you call it? Chemical warfare. Because I had to wonder, this is all man-made, designed to destroy God's house and destroy the people and control the population, Bill Gates and all that. And so there's a congressional bill, if you go to congress.gov, I think it's Bill H.R. 6667, and talks about what it is that they're putting inside your body in these clear little vials with no labels on them. It's Lucifer, the Lucifer complex or whatever it is that they called it. And I don't want that in me. And so I'm not saying it wasn't real, but the point is, what kind of warrior are you? Are you going to close down? Some pastors didn't close the church down. They didn't close the house of God down. They kept it because God promised them, if you keep it open, I'll keep the plague away from you. And that's what one pastor told me in Northwest Baltimore. And so I just, a lot of pastors were just wishy-washy. They didn't have much faith because they really weren't called to be pastors. Hello. They put themselves there, and then they had no faith. Okay, they were wishy-washy. They were more businessmen. They were trying to make a profit. And God said, I will not have this in my house. I have to come to the house of God first and clean it up. So he took them out, those who had lost the zeal, those who had lost the power, those who had lost their first love. And so wanted money, wanted women, wanted all that, wanted the big cars and all that. He said, it's time for you to go. Or retire you. Get out of here. Clean my house up.
The biggest thing about the virus, with any virus, while it is sometimes harmful that a virus is in your system, but the thing is that after a while, healing does come, but there has to be, also just a detox of your body just regenerating altogether. So the virus is going to take over everything, but like you said, it's just a straight washing that just happened, in 2020. And so while a lot of musicians actually, too, did not get paid during the times in was out of their job.
My God. That's another program, sir.
Yeah.
That's another whole program.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on it because, we are talking about, musicians and trauma. I really truly thank the Lord that the Lord covered me during that pandemic. I only missed one Sunday during that pandemic moment. And God had me in the place of building an online Zoom and online streaming for the church that I'm at because they didn't have live stream. So I was able to be in that position to build their live stream, to play, record the songs every Sunday, and not, like I said, I did not miss. I missed one beat, and even in that one beat, I got, that week payback, after a while. So, like I truly do believe that God had his hand on me because he gave me a message 6 months before that this was going to happen. And so I truly do believe that he did cover, his chosen people and his remnant people during that time. I truly do, and like you say, you have to really, you really have to be, in God's face, in the Father's face, because if you don't have a relationship with the Father, then you already know, depart from me, you work in iniquity. I don't even know you.
That work of iniquity does not have a label on it. It doesn't say he's not talking to pastors, he's not talking to bishops and apostles. Yeah! Praise the Lord. He's talking to everybody. Okay. So you know what? First of all, if you have discernment and you got, man made it, the pandemic didn't stop you. COVID-19 didn't stop you from going to Costco, get the toilet paper. It didn't stop you from going to PJ's. It didn't stop you going to the liquor store, Pastor. Oh, I'm sorry. It didn't stop you going to the club. Okay, it didn't stop you going on the block, missionary. Listen, so why did you stop you from opening up God's house? And why are you stopped not paying the minister of music, the Levite? It says, do not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn. We are owed back pay. That's what we owe. Yep. Good God Almighty.
Yep. And also with that, when it comes to let's go down to tithing and offerings aspect. When it comes to tithing, the Bible does say that you can redeem your tithes. And so my thing was that I said, a lot of people are in trouble. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people, musicians, have lost their jobs. And while you have faithful members that have given their tithes and offerings and special secret service, whatever the offering was, and so now my position was, okay, you should be able to go to your church and ask for help financially because you poured into that ministry. And so you can redeem your tithe. It does say that you can redeem your tithe. If you having any trouble, there should have been no reason that any church or ministry could not help their congregation. That's only if it was set up that way, like financially. So whoever over that church
I know you just didn't say that, sir. I know you just didn't say you can go back to the church and you have played for ask for help.
This is how it should be structured.
I asked this last pastor, calls himself pastor. I said, what about me? I mean, I'm saying you going to throw me out now? I got to go find a place to play. He said, that ain't my problem. So what happened to all this preaching about God? You love me as a member and all that. You say you want me to come in and then when I need you, like another minister of music, a very well-known minister of music, asked the pastor of the church, could he help him out because he was going through some stuff. And he said, is this what you called me in here for? He got up and walked out to me. I got time for this nonsense. Now, I want you to give money to me. Stuff me up. Make me big. Make me look good. It's all about me. Sound like a little baby.
Yeah, I think you need to put a wham button when you're on the podcast. Wham, every time.
And then he had the nerve to say, when he said, I asked him about communicating, about, putting the keyboards in the shop, keyboard broken with it. Anyway, I said, why don't you call me and tell me, who are you? I am the pastor. Well, my question to you, because I'm going to surely send you this broadcast. My question to you, you may be the pastor today, my Nubian brother, but the question is, how long will the Lord allow you to be there, treating his people, treating his Levites, treating his prophets? Oh, you didn't know that? That's what I was? Like trash. Not too long, sir. Mm-hmm. The history is someone asked me a long time ago. That's why I said to you, prophet, earlier, is that they said, how many churches have have survived after they've mistreated you, Reverend Steve? And I'm like, I don't know. He said, have you ever gone back to look at them? And I said, not really, because I'm trying to forget them. He said, well, go back and check them out. And I've gone back and checked them out, and some have shrunk to almost nothing, and others are no longer in existence because when you deal with God's prophet, I mean, you can't mistreat them. They're there to help you. They're to help you build the ministry. And you now irritate God when you do this. See, they figure if you want a keyboard, you ain't nobody. You ain't a nothing. You are my, like you said, my employee. I tell you what to do. You ain't got no brain. You're stupid. You do what I tell you to do. You help me raise that money. That's all you did for. Help me get the members. Help me grow the church. And it's all about me. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just really sometimes difficult being in the position of a musician, just knowing that sometimes, maybe it could be just a dead end. And sometimes it's just a dead end.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I do believe sometimes, musicians just. I had this conversation not too long ago with some others, and it was just like the same thing. Hey, like, let me just not play, let me just do something else. I had that question literally 2 weeks ago. Should I continue playing? Like, let me go into business full time. Let me just rather do that than being under pressure or being stereotyped, all the time, because people, when I tell them I'm a musician, the thought process, it just rained down and you already labeling me without getting to know me. You don't even know me.
Disrespected, rejected. Yeah. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna say this, see if you can verify it. Here's what I have a pet peeve about. I had to go to school. I've had to have private lessons. Every time you learn something from the music side, theory, whatever it is, learn different instruments, you got to pay for it. I've had to pay a lot. My mother had to pay a lot of money. I've had to pay money, take classes on Peabody and all that, and New Shallow. I've been there, and it's the people. Maybe I should do it like a preacher. I don't know why that when others who have no skill, good God Almighty, who have no talent, keep a note, can come to me and tell me what I need to do with the gifts that God has given me. You need to go sit down and learn how to preach, learn how to pastor, and leave the music to someone that God has sent you to help you grow your church. Oh, yes, sir. That's what I need to say. That's the best sermon I ever did.
Well done, Steve. Well done. That was so accurate. You got it good. Got it locked down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's quite irritating. Kind of make you want to take your backhand and smack the bejesus out of him. I feel like throwing a hymn book. Get back in your places.
I'm telling you. And another thing is, what I don't like, and it's sad that it kind of plays a part, is the church politics is really heavy in church. When I was married, my ex-wife, she sings. She really sings very well. She was a praise and worship leader and everything else. And so, while being faithful to a ministry for over, I'd say at least 7, 8 years, and being on the forefront, the pastor hired somebody else coming in to be a music director, and which is a woman. Gave that woman a position, a music director, and I'm sitting here like, okay, how did this happen? When you have somebody in position who's been here for several years, but you choose this person because they are an artist on James Fortune album, or you have a single out, and so now you possibly bait her in being a part of this ministry, and and that's what it
more notoriety.
More notoriety. Like, you look over somebody who's dedicated and faithful, and literally up under you, like literally almost as an idol. First of all, my wife really, really looked up to the pastor and still does, and then just saying like, but it happens.
I got to ask you this question. Sir, because this is Elevation Radio 1. We got to keep it real, keep it raw. And that is, was she pretty?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So let me go back. Let me go back in time here because we only got 3 minutes left here. I think you were talking earlier about the pastor asking you about where you can't be looking at the women in the church and keep it holy and blah blah blah. What he was really saying. Can I translate that for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Young fella, you're a young buckaroo. So I don't want you to mess with my women, okay? Because these are my girls. I don't want to hear them say, I don't want to hear them talk about you, and then as it's too much. Because that's another problem. And that could be a problem somewhere else. Because I've had this experience before where I was getting ready to leave out the church, playing for this other bishop years ago, and his wife, while he was preaching, got up and blocked the door of the church while I was trying to leave. And she says, where are you going? I said, where am I going? I'm going to my next assignment. She says, why do you have to leave? Because I've got to go to play somewhere else my next assignment. I'm sorry, confirm with the bishop. Why don't you smile? You never smile. I said, because it's always about business, ma'am. I said, can you step away from the door? Because, don't you see your husband up there, the bishop, preaching? I'm sure he's looking at you, too. She wanted me, sir. Okay, that's what it was. I was Joseph, and she was Potiphar's wife. And I said, I have no parts of it. So you got to be careful.
Very careful.
I can't talk to you because you get me in all kinds of trouble. Good God Almighty. How can Apostle Alphonso or YA Young Apostle? How can folks get in touch with you if you haven't gotten too much trouble and they want to use you for different events? Whatnot. How can they reach you, sir?
You can always look me up on Facebook or Instagram, and you can always go to my personal page, Alphonso Elliott on Facebook and Instagram. That's usually comes up, or my business page on Instagram is Be More Icy, BEMOREICY. Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Italian movie business. So
that's right. You are a businessman too. What's the name of your business?
Be More Icy, BEMOREICY. That's how you spell it.
Where's it located?
Well, I'm a mobile business, so I got a mobile bus that I travel around and operate out of. So I'm year 4 in, and it was really a good success last year. A huge learning curve for me last year, but
all right,
overall, very well successful in genius business. So,
well, I'm just wondering when I'm gonna get my sample. You talk about it all day.
I'm gonna definitely make sure I get some samples loaded up really soon. The weather's a little iffy, but that doesn't mean anything. If people want to sample, I gotta give it to them. So I got something on the way.
All right, I got you on record now, Alphonso. This is play this tape over and over again. I said, I'm standing outside your mobile unit with my T-shirt. He promised me some sample. I got issues, sir. You want to cross me? So it's been a wonderful joyride here, and one of the best programs I've had here for this year, as a matter of fact. And so thank you. And something just happened on my computer screen. It looks like I think I have another 58 minutes. It just went from 2 minutes down to up to 58 minutes. This could be a blessing, sir. It's a double header. Okay, and so and that was just God, because I was ready to cut it off. Tell me about the mobile business. How'd you get into it, and what kind of flavors of ices do you have, sir?
Well, the first question is really how I got into it. I was helping another person, one of my old colleagues, with his icy business. It was pretty small, and he had a few events, so I was helping him here and there. And I really stepped in and helped him brand his business. I was getting him contracts with various churches and ministries, and really kind of guiding him through, how to get invoices. And so, at one point I asked, hey, let's partner up. Let's, so we can team up and, go big. And so he was just nonchalant, and, and then he burnt me a few times, one too many. And okay, well, let me build my own table, So I started my Italian ice business 3 years ago, and I just wanted to be different. My goal is always to be creative and innovative. And so now I have an Italian ice business, but I serve my Italian ice out of pineapples, pour the pineapple open, and put Italian ice in it, or smoothie. I do coconuts the same way. I slice open coconuts. I'll slice open baby watermelon and put smoothie in it or Italian ice. So, it's definitely a really good product. I put a lot of thought and effort and quality into my product. I don't buy no cheap ingredients. I have blueberry, cherry, mango, lemon, pina colada, kiwi, strawberry, watermelon, all these different flavors that you can choose from, even with the smoothies. And so,
watch yourself, sir. So you got Italian.
Yeah,
you get the fat musician excited. So you got you say, I think I've heard, maybe capsulize this. You say you got pineapple Italian ice, and then you have coconut smoothies. Is that right?
Yeah, and the pineapple, actually, out of a pineapple, you're drawing your Italian ice straight out of an actual real pineapple, a real coconut, a real baby watermelon, served right out, with Italian ice or smoothie drink.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna order an Italian ice and blueberry, and then get one of those pineapple coconut smoothies. Yeah. Now, do you have whipped cream, sir? It's very important.
I have the marshmallow. I gotta get the whipped cream.
Okay, all right. We can flow the marshmallow, sir.
My list. Right.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Matter of fact, on mine you can put the pineapple coconut smoothie with the marshmallow in the middle, and then you can put whipped cream around it. I tell you.
I got you.
And tell Jay he can't copy what I do. Okay.
Hey, Jay has actually had some of my products already, so everybody really enjoyed the product, and as long as I keep my customers happy and they're satisfied, then I'm satisfied and happy along with them.
Well, that's fantastic. I tell you.
Yeah.
Now we have caused so much truth and reality that my screen has lost its color inside. That's when the devil's mad. It takes away the color out of my computer screen on my platform, and that's when I know I've gone too far.
Oh.
Hey, but it's all right. It'll be all right. Yeah, I wish my wife was still here, because she loved to eat snowballs and smoothies and all that. We would have lined that up specifically for her. Yeah, I got a picture of her with a huge snowball from it was off of 25th Street. These two young ladies, about I think 10 or 11 only on business from their father, and they were making snowballs. Very good too. So you can see, I got a picture I might send you. It's got my wife on it. The snowball was so big and so loaded, she had to hold it with two hands. She's just smiling from ear to ear. It's one of my favorites. I tell you, ain't that like a good snowball?
Yeah,
something right
definitely
there.
You have to go to the right place for your snowball, though.
There's something right there, man. I'm just thinking. I mean, you got the icy, you got the smoothie, you got the icy. The next level snowball, sir. This is like a one-stop shop.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I can see it now. Let me prophesy. And they came from miles around. Lined up. And so when they hear your truck coming, they'll be like, like the old days, we used to see the ice cream man come. Ice cream man, Mama, ice cream man.
Mm-hmm.
You got any money?
Mm-hmm.
They go, yeah, get that same excitement.
Yeah, everybody say, "Oh, here come the pineapple guy." Oh, here, pineapple guy.
Yeah, right. I mean, you got a jingle for that, don't you? Did you write a jingle for that yet?
I was working on one. I definitely have to revamp it and get it out there.
Okay. It's very important, sir.
Yes, it is.
Now, I forgot to talk about briefly my second appearance at the BWT Productions Comedy Showcase, which is conveniently being held on Howard G's birthday. I don't know how that happened. Because he ain't all that. Anyway, let me just say. But Howard G always gives me a problem, man. He always harasses me. And so I had to get him back now when he's not around. And so I'll be there along with a whole bunch of other comedians. They're doing clean comedy, which, kind of is somewhat a bad word every other segment. And I'm doing clean Christian comedy, which is all clean. No bad words. And so if you want to come out and let them know that Christian comedy is the way to go, and we support Pastor Steve, the Music Man, Turner. And as a matter of fact, yes, you're going to be a part of what has just been created, which I'm a part of, Team Wolf, talking about the Coyote Man show network, who has seen some good in me, and so wants me to be on their team. And so we got. You asked me, call me at 1-410-302-2737. Asked me to send you the logo for Team Wolf, and you can put it on your shirt, put it on your jacket, put it on your hat. Yeah, put it on your backpack. Matter of fact, ladies, put it on your purse. and when you buy the ticket from me, that's right, from me. I've got a few tickets left, discounted at only $20. Go to the door, I got paid $25. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, you want this discount. And so come in and help me out. Support me when I get up on the stage, and when any member of Team Wolf gets up, just let them know. Yeah! Start screaming and howling. Act crazy, as if you would at the Ravens Stadium. and let us know that you are in our corner. That sounds good, doesn't it, Apostle?
Yes, sounds awesome.
There you go. Apostle Alphonso said it sounded good, so therefore it is good. And do what he said. There will be some trouble. All right, if you like this program, if you think it's relevant, someone told me it was controversial. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to be relevant and tell it like God told me to tell it. And that bothers you, then that's not my problem. Wish you well. Usually it's because you're evil. You got a problem with it. But my point is you can go to www.blogtalkradio.com/Elevation Radio 1. That's www.blogtalkradio.com/Elevation Radio 1. And hear all the programs we've done since 2018. And some will make you cry. Some will make your mouth drop open because you can't believe what the story that they're telling. It's awesome, shocking. And some will make you laugh because we've had some silly moments here, especially the birthday celebrations, where I allow people to roast me on air. That's a fundraiser. Alphonso, it was strictly crazy. And they tried to roast me, and I've survived for at least 3 years roasting them back while they tried to roast me. But the fourth year they set me up. My system went down, and the Coyote Man from the Coyote Man Show Network, shout out to CMS Network, called me and said, we can help you, Music Man, and get you on there. I know it's very important to you, and I'll put you on this network. We can work it through your computer, like a help desk thing. I was like, oh, that's great. I appreciate it. Oh, man, thank you so much, brother. And so he set it up. But while he was setting it up, Apostle, he set me up. He only made it so that I could hear what they were saying, but I could not respond. And so he took over and said, Pastor Steve was so cheap that he didn't pay for two-way. He only paid for one-way. So that's why I had to sit there and listen to all the callers call in and just rip me to roast me to death. It was unfair. I was traumatized.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear
that. If you when you meet him, you haven't met him yet, but if you come back up to the studio where we were at earlier today, and you see him, you just look and shake your head. You say, "Why are you shaking your head? What you did to my man, Pastor Steve, was just wrong." The Lord's gonna get you. You're like, "Oh, what'd I do?" And then if I'm there, I'll tell him, "You know what you did, sir, when you tried to roast me for my birthday." And he'll fall laughing. All righty. Well, I think I may have taken up too much of your time, sir. But I do appreciate your words of wisdom as a young apostle and vibrant music director and minister of music. I want to say thank you, somebody, because I'm going to put this out on every social media platform. And also, I'm going to put it all in the music groups of Facebook. And I declare, I know for certain that certain ministers of music around the country are going to be listening to them and say, they are absolutely correct, because this is the same thing I'm dealing with now. Oh, yeah. What got me in trouble here earlier was back in 2000, I was trying to start a ministers of music or musicians church union, so we wouldn't have to be putting up with this nonsense from these arrogant, egocentric, non-talented pastors. And they didn't like it. Well, I guess it wasn't the fact they didn't like it. They were afraid, but they actually said, I can't believe it. We got one of those musicians so smart and so bold that he's actually willing to unionize the other musicians that we consider to be stupid. This is dangerous. Alarm, alarm. So, yeah, because they got a local gospel 802 from the AFM, American Federation of Musicians, in New York that I went up to see. And when you don't pay them under union representation, things happen. So the representative said to a church who claimed they couldn't give the I think the drummer or whatever it was an extra $50 in his paycheck, and the representative went to the church unbeknownst, sat through the service, looked at the fancy cars, saw their offering plate, and then he called the church back and said, what's the problem with you giving the man an extra $50? Oh, we don't have it. No. They said, you don't have it? He said, I was at your church. Oh, you were? Yeah, I came there. You never know who you're entertaining. And I saw these things. And I know you can do it. And either you will do it, or this is what will happen. And then he stopped talking. It was nothing but silence. He said, did you hear that? Man said, I didn't hear anything. It was silent. He said, that's where it's going to be in your church. Silent. No music. He got the message. Could you imagine that down here?
Wow.
And so that make you act right, that make you be accountable. And when I asked this last pastor about contracts that I had made for myself, because I had to do my own contracts for my own business of music, because a lot of pastors and trustees and deacons have amnesia. I never knew that Alzheimer's affected folks who were in their 30s and 40s. It comes paying me my money. Yeah, what you promised, what you agreed to. And so, a lot of times they pleasure themselves at the expense of the minister of music, not offering you what they could offer you, because you really never know what they got. You only know what they tell you. And most of the story is, we're struggling and we're da-da-da-da-da. And if you work with me, we can build this together. Well, I have never been able to take a month vacation anywhere in the history of my life. And I work for a lot of people. But you can take a month off, but you ain't got no money. You must think I'm stupid. Nah. The Lord is just holding my tongue. So it says, in business be men. So when I asked the person about different degrees of contracts that I offered the person, you know what they told me, Apostle?
What?
He told me that my contracts were foolishness. Wow.
Wow.
I've been using these contracts basically since, I think, 1996, all over the city. But for you, it was foolishness. You know why it was foolishness? Foolishness for this pastor?
Probably never
Do you know why? No, I didn't tell you that. It's because he's foolishness. Because he was up to foolishness. He had no intent to do right. That's one point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what man told me about doing contracts. It was another retired pastor. He said, if folks don't want to sign your contract, that's because they don't mean you're no good. That's because they intend to do wrong, because they are crooked. And my experiences since 1994, 1996, and he has been absolutely correct. He was right.
Wow.
Yes. So that is just some words of wisdom. And when I send you this copy of this program, anything that you hear that has been relevant to you, you can take this and actually remind yourself of what not to do or what not to be let done to you. Yeah. I'm just giving out wisdom here today like you gave out wisdom today. I appreciate you. Well, I tell you, if I was 39 and I had your wisdom and my wisdom together, whew, good God Almighty. Oh, boy. Well, thank you. I'm telling you, man. Triple anointing.
Right.
I tell you. All right. Well, don't forget me when you come into your kingdom, sir. Because I had him on my program. It's like, you don't know world famous Alphonso Elliott. I said, yes, I do. I had him on a program. Yeah, you lie. I said, yeah, I did. Listen, I got him because I can see the tape, sir. And they said, oh, okay. Yeah, I even got one of them smoothies, too. And got an icy the bat. Yeah, so as we close here, so I can get out of here, I got to learn some music for tomorrow. Even though I'm old school, I can still learn some new music. I was told I was too old to learn new music. Could you believe that? Yeah.
Yes,
this dude who can't play a note. Can't sing worth a time. I'll tell you. Whew. Anyway, pray for these people's apostle. Pray for them all, because we all need to get to a new revelation in God. I need more patience with people that make no sense. And see, you're different, because the old Pastor Steve, one pastor, I'd put my hands on some folk talking nonsense, punch you right in the neck. But I realize now that's the 60-year-old Pastor Steve, and I got to just pray for you and let the Lord fight my battles. It reminds me of an old apostolic song. It says, victory, victory shall be mine. Victory, victory shall be mine. If I hold, it's conditional now, if I hold my peace, I want to lay you out. I want to tell you where to go. You came close to getting your throat cut. If I hold my peace, let the Lord fight my battles. Victory, victory shall be mine.
You're right.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go now because you got me in trouble, sir. So I'm going to go on.
I appreciate you, Pastor Steve, for having me on today. Good stuff.
And we bless you. Appreciate you, too. And tell Jay that he missed it, okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
All right, now. God bless you, sir.
All right. Shalom.
All right. Shalom.